The Supreme Court decides to take up two high-profile cases regarding partisan gerrymandering. One America's Adonis Albright has more on how the ruling could shape the process of drawing congressional maps for years to come.
The Supreme Court announces it will hear arguments over whether courts can deem congressional maps unconstitutional and how judges will decide whether redistricting is too partisan. The nation's highest court announced Friday it will look at two cases out of Maryland and North Carolina to determine if lawmakers violate the Constitution when they draw up congressional maps to favor a particular party. Last term, the Supreme Court heard a pair of cases regarding alleged gerrymandering, including Maryland's, but ultimately sent it back to the lower courts for further consideration. Democrats in Maryland's 6th congressional district were accused of redrawing the map to unfairly benefit their party, flipping a once red district blue.
Well, if what the map drawers are doing is looking at the way that individuals have voted in the past and on that basis attempting to make it more difficult for them to achieve electoral success moving forward, that is the specific intent, and there is a burden imposed as a consequence.
Yes.
It may well be
the answer to my question is yes.
It may well be that would be a violation.
But the questions that justices struggle to answer: is there a standard for evaluating partisan gerrymandering, and what exactly would that look like? Despite the ambiguity, the lower courts decided Maryland's 6th district map excessively benefited Democrats, ruling the move unconstitutional. The other case, Gill v. Whitford, where Democrat voters challenged the statewide redistricting process, set a precedent for whether the Supreme Court can hear a case regarding gerrymandering. Justices claim plaintiffs in the case must prove voters have a personal stake for it to have standing in court.
In Wisconsin, the Democrats challenged state legislative districts drawn by the Republicans, but the court said that they didn't have legal standing to sue, partly because they didn't have plaintiffs in every one of those districts. So the court sent that case back on this standing issue, so they didn't really get into the legal merits of whether this legal theory that the Democrats had sort of could be workable in the courts.
Meantime, a panel of 3 federal judges ruled last August North Carolina's entire congressional map unfairly benefited Republicans, as the state's 2018 congressional race has yet to be finalized months later. In the Tar Heel state last August, President Trump spoke out against that ruling.
No, it's very unfair. You have an election in a little more than 60 days and they change the district on you and you've already won primaries. How does that work? The court system, okay? How does that work? You've all gone through primaries, or most of you have. It's been districted for many years, and now you have to redraw a line?
Both cases now lie before the nation's top court, which will set the precedent for years to come. However, the timing of these cases are significant, as congressional redistricting takes place every decade following the census, with the next one slated for 2021. And it's unclear how the Supreme Court will decide, despite some speculating the latest justice to take the bench, Brett Kavanaugh, could strike the cases down. A statement from government watchdog group Common Cause reads the Supreme Court has the opportunity to restore a meaningful vote to millions of Americans in Maryland and North Carolina, as well as across the country.
Unfortunately, this important process is often hijacked for political purposes in a way that subverts the very basic foundation of our representative democracy. In most states, a clear conflict of interest exists in which legislators draw their own districts or congressional maps for personal and political advantage.
Both cases are expected to be heard in March, with a final decision expected to be reached by June. Adonis Albright, One America News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.